I know alles.
How's it going, everybody? This is Tom Dropper. Hope you're having a great day, and welcome back to another video. Alright folks, it's time for another edition of Random Thoughts. In this series, I'll talk about whatever is on my mind, whether it's something interesting in the world, a personal story that I want to share, or if I just want to rant about something. And folks, an asteroid may not be hitting planet Earth anytime soon. However, there is another thing that I truly believe is a grave threat to humanity. You know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. It is ChatGPT. Yes, I know what you're thinking. That's a threat to humanity? Well, in the world in which AI is starting to become a lot more advanced, I can promise you right now, this thing is a lot more dangerous than you really think it is. And so for this video, I'm going to share with you a few reasons as to why ChatGPT is a threat to humanity. I'll share with you a few things that it is affecting and why with AI, unless we understand the risk behind it, it may not be long before that and AI effectively eventually start taking over things that humanity, especially we humans, already do. Because trust me, it may look like it's fun and useful, but I promise you there are a few things that I have noticed in regards to this thing that can really risk the future of our world. Obviously, we all live very busy lives. You know, obviously we're out getting an education, we're all going to work, obviously, and we're just dealing with a whole bunch of things. But obviously, sometimes whenever we're having trouble with finding some things, we'll usually just Google it, or maybe just go on YouTube and try to find a video that will allow us to help us with solving some of our problems, obviously. And obviously, we absolutely have to work for all the things that we have to get to in life. However, with ChatGPT, this thing has started to really challenge everything that we've really known. That's right, ever since this was first formed a couple years ago, it has basically become pretty much everybody's version of Google for some reason. And with the help of AI, it basically acts to help with answering questions, obviously, in regards to certain problems, and even giving out some facts as well. However, the reason why I believe that it is personally a problem though is because there are still a good amount of things in regards to ChatGPT that really concerns me. And it basically isn't just one avenue, it's almost every avenue. That's right, there's been a lot of talk over the years in regards to AI potentially taking over a whole bunch of things within the next few years or so. I don't know if that's exactly real, but if that ends up being the case, ChatGPT is going to play a huge role in that. And a big reason why is because for some reason, more and more high school and college students are using it. Now obviously when I was in school, I had to really work for all my grades, obviously. I had to do a lot of studying, and I also had to do a lot of research using regular web browsers, just so that way I can get all the answers that I need, so that way I can be able to do well in my classes. For some apparent reason in this new era, thanks to ChatGPT, students are basically just having all their work done for them. And trust me, that has concerned a lot of teachers and professors at schools and colleges nationwide. For some reason, students are now taking the lazy way out, and obviously, because of that, it's left a lot of professors really questioning whether or not they are actually learning anything as a result of ChatGPT. Trust me, there are a lot more students now that are just glazing by that, or really just using it to get things done without literally doing anything. And obviously, that makes the risk a whole lot bigger that those students graduating college that are using it, chances are they're going to look like that they haven't really learned anything. And that worries me. If you're going to succeed in school, obviously, you really have to really work hard for your grades. Not use some sort of technological browser so that way you can be able to really get by without having to do anything. Unfortunately, ChatGPT and AI has allowed these students to really learn new ways to cheat in regards to their assignments, and as well as graduating school too. And unfortunately, that's going to become a big problem in the future. The other thing is that it can be a huge threat to jobs. Now obviously, our ways of being able to make income is obviously having jobs. You know, whether it's freelance work, or you know, an office job, or just a 9-to-5 job, or doing something really fun, you know, like an active job or something like that. Obviously, you know, we all have to make our income, and the only way to be able to do that is if we're actually working at a local office or organization. With ChatGPT, unfortunately, it does feel like that, you know, there could be ways that it can really do a whole bunch of work for everybody else. You know, like all those emails and website projects that I usually do. ChatGPT could potentially do all of that, especially with the help of AI, and especially with a whole bunch of other like software projects or, you know, engineering stuff and all that stuff. For some reason, that can really allow ChatGPT to really do all that work for them. And as long as more companies are looking into it, there's going to be an increasing risk that there are going to be a lot of people being laid off out of their jobs. And the same thing goes for retail and fast food places. I've seen, kiosks obviously being there, and obviously there could be a future in which robots could literally be doing the jobs of cashiers and fast food workers and all that stuff. We have to make our pay. And unfortunately, as long as AI and ChatGPT is doing all of this work, unfortunately, the last thing we're going to end up in is being at home doing what the heck are we going to do, obviously. And so, unfortunately, that plays a huge risk in the future because we need jobs to be able to make the pay that we need so that way we can pay for everything that's going on here at home. ChatGPT threatens all of that. It can also manipulate a huge amount of projects that go on in this world as well. Obviously, there are a whole bunch of things that are happening, goes to world peace, and obviously a whole bunch of other projects at school, at work, or maybe even in the state and the country as well that can literally help with really getting the country going. ChatGPT threatens that. Let's say somebody that's doing a big project decides to use ChatGPT and basically decides to use it to try and see what the best route is, and the only option that it gives ends up being the bad one. Hey, if they end up using that, it can literally go horribly wrong really quick. And trust me, ChatGPT, it may give you some information, but it doesn't give you accurate information. And sometimes that can really send a whole project upside down. It can manipulate anything, and as a result, literally saying something just because it does not mean it's going to end up being right. It could literally just end up being disinfo, and as a result, trust me, projects can end up being upended, and as a result, it can literally end up ruining anything. And as a result, that's why AI and ChatGPT could become a threat there as well, because you'll never know what it might suggest. And speaking of which, that's another thing that makes it a threat to humanity: the amount of disinformation that it could potentially spread. And trust me, that is a real problem, especially considering that we're now living in a world where disinformation is as prevalent as ever. ChatGPT and AI has become huge provocators in regards to that. That's right, obviously there is a whole bunch of AI sources obviously that can really give you a whole lot of information, but just like with Wikipedia, it's not always accurate, and unfortunately there are a lot of instances in which ChatGPT ends up giving you something that you may think help you in regards to let's say a school project or something like that, but it turns out it's literally just disinformation, and unfortunately that can cause you to fail that project. Not only that, there are a lot of people that may end up being radicalized as a result of this as well, and that's a problem. If you want accurate information, you really have to use the best resources possible, so that way you can literally get the information that you need to make an informed decision. Unfortunately, stuff like ChatGPT, it can spew out a whole ton of disinformation, and as a result, it can literally be a huge problem in the future, because unfortunately that's going to cause a whole lot of people's IQs to go down, and as a result, it's going to be a huge problem in regards to being able to navigate through life if you're literally getting the wrong information as a result of one AI software. And trust me, that can lead to a huge problem. Finally, I think the biggest reason why ChatGPT is a huge threat to humanity is because they are getting smarter than all of us. Unfortunately, there's a lot of AI software that's out there like ChatGPT that even though it spews a lot of disinformation, it can still navigate through a whole bunch of things obviously, and as a result, they seem to end up being one step ahead of us, and as a result, it has become very hard for us humans to be able to keep up. And the reason why I say this is because obviously ChatGPT, it can store a whole lot of information obviously, and a lot more information than the human mind may usually store. And because of that, that really allows it to really get into so many avenues, whether or not it's in the business industry or music or sports or a whole bunch of other avenues. It stores a lot more nowadays, especially since the 2 years that it has since been developed, and literally it has just become a huge problem for us to be able to keep up with it. I mean, trust me, if AI software is able to have this much information and we don't, what does that make us? It's a big problem, and unfortunately, we have to find a way to be able to keep up with it and ultimately outlast AI, because if we don't, unfortunately, it's going to leave us hanging out in the dry. AI has gotten a lot smarter over the last couple of years, and if we don't find a way to counter that, trust me, there's a possibility that it's going to ultimately take over every school, job, and a whole bunch of other places in life that we have used to know and love. As I have mentioned before, AI can be fun, obviously. Obviously sometimes it can literally make a whole lot of lives easier in regards to a whole bunch of other stuff. But then again, when you get stuff like ChatGPT out there, it still comes with a whole bunch of risks. And if you're not careful with it, it unfortunately can lead to things in which things can go catastrophically wrong for humanity. Now, I'm not being an alarmist here. I absolutely don't think that AI will actually take over humanity like many others say it will, but I still feel like that is still something to be concerned about. And obviously, as long as ChatGPT is being used in ways that the human mind cannot comprehend, it's going to remain a huge problem as we continue to evolve as humans. Trust me, the last thing we want to do is be in our homes just being lazy and all that stuff, because ChatGPT and AI are doing literally everything for us. I feel like that we really need to find a way to be able to really counteract that and use it in a way in which it benefits us as humans. Find a way to use AI and ChatGPT so that way we can be able to navigate life and use it as a way that can really benefit us all. If we can do that, then hey, it'll prove that we can still get things done. But if not, we're going to be living in a world in which we can end up looking very robotic and not real, and that's a big problem. Alright folks, that's gonna do it for this random thought. So I really like to hear from you. With all of this talk that's going on recently, what do you think about ChatGPT? Do you agree with me that you feel like it could be a threat to humanity, or do you not? Do you feel like that this could actually be a benefit somewhat? And if so, how do you think it will benefit all of us? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll be more interested in hearing your opinions about it. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, if you'd like to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when my latest video is released. Comment below for future suggestions for all my videos, whether it's vlogs, projects, or challenges, you name it. Leave it in the comments below, and I'll do my best to make them. As always, follow me on my social media. All the links are in the description below. That's gonna do it for this video. I hope you're having a great day. As always, I hope to see all of you again in another video very soon. So long, everybody.